That is a gorgeous house. This looks like a very nice place to call home. That's a beautiful house. This also looks like a very, very nice house. And this is a beautiful house. But the only thing I really feel comfortable living in is that, my car. So I've been house sitting here for a few days now, and I absolutely love it. It's great. This place has got a pool. It has a nice big area for me to work in. It's got a huge living room. It's a gorgeous house, it really is. But I'm just not comfortable here. And when I say here, I mean the city, not this house. This house is great. The city is just not for me. And there's nothing wrong with the city whatsoever. It's a fine city. Honestly, the crime here is very low comparative to other places. It's very safe feeling. It doesn't have the huge traffic problems like a lot of other major metropolitan cities have. This is a great city, it really is. But overall, there's just not a connection there for me. I don't know what it is, but for most of my life, I have just really not felt like there's a connection that I have with any of the cities I've lived in. I've lived in various cities in Florida. I've lived in Tennessee before. I've lived in some great places, but I just never felt like those places were home. The moment I got on the road and started traveling, I just felt like that was home. I just felt a connection there. There's literally nothing wrong with any of these houses. This is a gorgeous neighborhood, but what I don't like about calling anything here a home is that they're all stuck. They're just stuck in one place, and I just can't see myself right now being confined to a city. When I think about the amenities that come with a home, like being able to have space and being able to have hot water on demand and being able to shower daily and a nice big place to call your own, it's gorgeous. That seems really nice. But the other aspect I think about is just how I'd be stuck in that one place all the time. And yes, you could go on vacation, once a year or twice a year if you're lucky, but you're only on vacation for what, 4, 5, 7 days if you're lucky. And I just can't do that personally. I need a home on wheels. I need to be able to have the freedom to go wherever I want to at the time that I want to go. That's just me. That's just how I am right now. It's so funny because when you're living on the road, you're not getting daily showers. You're having to hunt and search for hot water. You're having to hunt for a new place to sleep every night. You usually have to deal with really crazy weather, whether it's raining or snowing or just even super windy outside, or it's just super cold or super hot. Everything you do has to be outside mostly. And while all that would deter most people, I look at it as those are just the small obstacles I have to go through in order to be completely nomadic, to live completely where I want to be and call a new place home every single night. So I think I'm going to go ahead and move into my car for a little while. It's the only thing that really makes sense. So I really wanted to get a truck and truck camper. That was kind of my plans for traveling long distance for a long time. And I still really want to do that. One of these days, I'm going to go ahead and be able to afford the truck and the truck camper I'm looking at. In order to get the truck that I'm looking at, I need to spend, brand new, these trucks go for like $50,000, $60,000. I'm okay with buying a used vehicle. That's not a problem. I just don't want to get something that's got really high mileage and everything on it if I'm about to move into it. Because you get something with like really high mileage and something happens to it and you're stuck on some BLM land somewhere out in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone service, you're kind of SOL. So I am just kind of waiting until I have enough money to at least be able to buy a really good, reliable truck. And then I still have to get the truck camper. And while you can find used truck campers, the ones I'm looking at, I haven't seen a lot of used ones go on sale. Not to say they don't happen, but it's kind of hard to find. And if you do find one, it could be on the other side of the country or something. So that's kind of the short of it. When I think about living in this car versus living in the Teardrop, this is not that different from living in a teardrop, honestly. The teardrop was a very small confined space that was mostly just a bed on wheels. That's all the teardrop was. I had to cook outside, I had to poop outside, I had to shower outside. I literally had to do everything outside. So it was just a place to crawl into for the night and go to sleep. I mean, that's all my car really is anyways. I mean, there's plenty of room in here for me to make a bed and to put my clothes and things like that in here. Plus, the thing about having a teardrop was that when you're pulling something behind a car, now you're double like the length of your vehicle, right? You've got your tow vehicle, the car, and then you got whatever trailer you're pulling. Now, the teardrop was small, but I'm still pulling basically a whole nother small car. So there was a ton of times when I would go down like a dirt path when I was out there camping on some open BLM land out west somewhere, some public land somewhere, that you don't know where the road's going because it's like winding back and forth. And you don't know where it's going everywhere. And I'm constantly worrying, like, how far is this going to go? And am I going to be able to turn around with this teardrop on connected to the car? You know, luckily I never got into any spots where I definitely couldn't get out. But there was a couple of times where I was like, okay, I need to really consider about how much further I go down this road because it started getting narrower and narrower. And then there's a ton of times where I remember driving down some of these dirt roads that are just like basically one lane and really worrying that someone might be coming like the opposite direction, like towards me. And then I was like, if that happens and they're pulling a big trailer and most people are pulling a bigger trailer than the little teardrop that I had, who's going to back up to let the other person go around? It's probably going to be me because I had a much, much smaller setup than what most people probably would be pulling. So, you know, having the teardrop was nice and everything. It gave me kind of an entrance into this whole nomadic life, but I don't regret selling it. I think it was still a smart decision. It was great for an entire year, but I think going forward, I've got a really good plan to get this car set up the way I want. So number one, the first thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take out this whole passenger seat right here. The reason for doing that is that it'll give me this space down here will all be, I think I'm going to put like my kitchen set up here. I think I'm going to put food, and I think I'm going to I got a 12-volt fridge. I think I'm going to put that here. And then one of the things that was always kind of a pain about the teardrop setup is that my entire kitchen, my entire galley area where I cooked was obviously outside. So one of the things that I constantly struggled with was being able to just prepare a meal when it was cold or raining or snowing or something. But sometimes it would just be raining enough that it would be raining enough to be annoying, that it would definitely get you wet if you were to be outside, but it wasn't enough that you couldn't be outside. But if you're standing out there in the same spot for 30 minutes or whatever, cooking a meal, then you know you're going to get soaked. So one of the things I think I'm going to do with the car, so one of the things I'm thinking about doing here in this area when I get the front seat out is actually making a small little table here with a place to put an induction stove. And what an induction stove would allow me to do is at least just like boil water inside the car if it's like raining enough that I can't really go outside and cook, or it's just too cold or too windy. I can't tell you how many times I would wake up when I lived in the teardrop. I'd wake up into like 25-degree temperatures, and all you want to do is get some warm coffee in you. But the last thing you want to do is go outside and boil water just to get some coffee. So at least doing some sort of an induction stove in the car will allow me to just boil water, and I could make coffee. I could, you know, do some of those rehydrated like mountain meals that they make for like backpackers and things. Just little things that at least I could do in the car, and that way it'll give me some place to like eat and everything inside the car. And then I have an idea for doing a whole build out here in the back of the car. One of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this back seat out, and then I'll actually give me like several inches more here to put space for clothes and food and things like that. I actually took this out last night. It wasn't that difficult at all. I wanted to see how difficult it was. And then these seats would actually come out, and this would actually be this would actually be my, I got a bunch of stuff in the trunk right now, but this would actually be like my sleep setup. And then over there, I'm actually gonna do a build out where I have my portable battery bank, some clothes, some food, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of like my plan. So yeah, that's kind of like my plan with my car. I realized that someone talking about what they're planning on doing with the car instead of showing you what they've actually done with the car is completely two different things. But I promise once I start setting these things up, I'll start taking you guys along that journey and showing you what I'm doing. I already got a couple things for the car. They're just not currently in the car or mounted on the car. For example, I got a rack for the back that I can mount my solar panel. I actually have my portable power bank. I'll show you what I got. I got an Anker portable power station. It's kind of like a Jackery, it's just a different brand. I already have a couple other things for the car coming. I have my 12 volt fridge coming. I went with the EcoFlow 12 volt pneumatic fridge. I am not doing a ice chest again. I did an ice chest for a year on the road, and that was an effing nightmare. It was you constantly have to get ice for it, obviously, every day. The ice melts, it gets in all your food. I couldn't keep things like dairy or meats or anything like that, lunch meats or anything like that in the cooler, because all that ice would melt and then get into your food and taste disgusting. Also, an ice chest is gotta have space for your food, and it's gotta have space for your ice. So the ice would take up a ton more space, and then you couldn't put as much food in there. It's just a nightmare. So I went with a 12 volt fridge. I'm taking advantage of all the Black Friday sales going on right now, and that should be coming in pretty soon. And I'll do a whole video that talks about that. It's really cool. The one I got is by EcoFlow, and it has an automatic ice maker in it, and it should be really cool. It's dual zone. It should be really good. So I'm excited about that. So it really just kind of makes sense for me to just do things in my car for right now. My car is paid off. And when I think about like getting the truck and the truck camper and stuff, because that's gonna be payments, and right now I'm doing okay financially, but taking on car payments and truck camper payments, I don't know, it's just not something I think that's really in my like cards right now. You know, the dealership asked me when I bought this car, do you plan on having this car for 10 years? Because they were planning on pitching the extended warranty to me. And I told them, I plan on having this car for at least 15 years, which is true. When I bought this car, I was lucky enough to buy this car brand new, and it had 17 miles on it when I bought it. And when I bought it with the sole intention of keeping this car for 15 years. That was honestly the plan, because I wanted something where I had no payments. I wanted something reliable. I wanted something with good gas mileage. I just thought that this was it. And don't get me wrong, I love this car, I really do. There's so much about this car I absolutely love. In hindsight, I wish I had something that had better towing capacity. I wish I had something now that's bigger inside, because when I bought this, I didn't know I was actually going to be living in it or trying to live in it. Yeah, you know, I wish I would have bought a pickup to begin with. It would have been nice. I won't have to mess with trying to get a pickup now. But que sera, sera. It is what it is. But this car is all paid off, so I don't see the need in buying something that I don't generally really need and can't really afford at the moment, versus just going with what I have. You know, there's so many people who get into the nomadic travel lifestyle, and they literally just start off with what they have. I mean, there's so many people who travel in Priuses, and a Prius is a great car, but it's really not intended to live in, obviously, right? It's a much smaller car. But there's a ton of people out there who do the travel lifestyle all the time, and they do it in a Prius. So this is a Subaru Forester, and it's not that big, but it's definitely bigger than a Prius. So I think I'll be okay. You know, it really is funny when I just stop and think about where my life is now compared to other people. I'm 47, and I don't know a ton of other 47-year-olds who are choosing to live in their car. It's funny. I do ask myself often, am I going through some sort of midlife crisis where I want to live in my car? And the thing about it is this is just what makes me happy. I'm just happiest being nomadic. I'm happiest being in a situation where I can just up and go somewhere as soon as I want to go. I am happiest when I get to explore. I'm happiest when I'm kind of out of my element, so to speak, meaning that I'm not always in the same place every day, where you kind of get a routine down and you kind of have like a city. A city is something you know every day. You know where to go, and you know how to get around, and you know where places are. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I totally understand that. I think it's a really, really safe and honestly a great way to live. It's just really funny because I'm so comfortable with not knowing what's going to happen. I'm so comfortable with being in a place for the first time ever and going, what's around this corner? I don't know, but let's find out. I'm the type to just go right into it and just figure it out. I just like that. I think home is just wherever you're comfortable. For me, I'm comfortable in a car. I'm comfortable living out of this little space, and I'm comfortable with kind of having just the little things that I need to survive on the road. Once I'm done building this thing out, trust me, I'm going to show you guys. I think I have a really great way to make my car a livable situation for me. I've got plans for doing a build out in here. I've got ways to mount my solar. I've got all that planned out, and I really can't wait to show you. So stay tuned. I really hope you continue to skate normal life with me.